Good news, Bitcoin and Ethereum are up. More good news, we had Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen announce President Biden's new rules for regulation of cryptocurrency, industry regulation, and the scary one, which we're going to talk about a lot more today, central bank digital currency. If you don't know what that is, you better stick around because I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to explain these minimal benefits of CBDC and a lot of harm. And that's what's making me terrified about these new rules coming out today. So what we're going to do today is we're going to jump into the press conference by Janet Yellen. She spoke this morning. What I did is she spoke for 38 minutes. I've watched it like 3 or 4 times now, but I reduced it down to 6 minutes. And we're just going to analyze little segments. And I'm going to give you some takeaways. And I'm going to give you some predictions, about what I believe is going to happen very soon within America with respect to cryptocurrency. We're not talking, oh yeah, in the next couple of years, we're going to have some regulations. We're going to have some more taxes on cryptocurrency. No, I'm talking about 6 months, 7 months. That means October of 2022, there are going to be some really big changes to cryptocurrency, at least in America. So we're going to get to that video in just one moment. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a wonderful picture of Secretary of the Treasury, Janet Yellen. And really what I want to do is kind of give you some background for her so that you can have some context to her remarks and then be a better judge about what you think she's going to do. Of course, she is the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury. What that means is it's one of the most important departments in U.S. government. She was appointed by President Biden in January of 2021. And basically what the Department of Treasury does is it provides the monetary policy for the United States of America. And she is the chief economic advisor to President Biden, for whatever that's worth, on economic policy. Now, she is quite accomplished. She was the first to be a governor of the board of directors for the Federal Reserve. She's been on the Federal Reserve twice, back in 1994 to 1997, also 2010 to 2018. She's been appointed to many high governmental jobs by President Clinton, President Obama, and President Biden. Like I said before, what we're going to do is we're going to actually look at certain parts of this press conference that went on today, and you're going to see that both the president and also Janet Yellen are very pro central bank digital currency, CBDC. I can't even pronounce it. All right, here we go.
Thank you so much, President Burwell, for that kind introduction. And I'm pleased to be here to discuss the Biden administration's approach to digital assets. A few weeks ago, President Biden signed an executive order calling for a coordinated and comprehensive government approach to digital asset policy.
All right, so we talked about it actually a month ago, almost to the day. Back on March 9th, President Biden issued an executive order on cryptocurrency. He seems, if you compare the strategies of Secretary Yellen and President Biden, you see that President Biden is much more ambitious to trying to get central bank digital currency adopted in America. But let me just be real brief. If you want to watch the live that I did on the cryptocurrency executive order, I'm going to put a link up top here in this video. But the short lesson on it is that the president's executive order is a direction to his executive agencies to do something. In this case, he wants the U.S. Department of Treasury to do a report, which is going to be due in 6 months. There's another deadline that I want to tell you about also. But he wants to have the Department of Treasury make recommendations on how the government can oversee cryptocurrency. And one of the things I brought up in this video is also harness the benefits of cryptocurrency. What does that mean to you? You know, it's kind of big language, but the bottom line is he wants to find an ability to tax cryptocurrency, probably more so than it is being taxed right now. He also wants a investigation into stablecoin. You guys probably remember stablecoin is a type of private cryptocurrency, a digital asset that is pegged to fiat currency. So if you have one tether, you have $1 in value. Supposedly the stablecoin DAOs and corporations are required to have enough money. If they have 800,000 stablecoins to issue, they have to have 800,000 fiat, rupees, pounds, or US dollars, whatever they're tied to, in their coffers, so that there's never a threat that if someone wants to redeem the stablecoin, he can't do it. So that's what stablecoin. There's a concern about stablecoin. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And this is what Secretary Yellen was talking about. But that is one of the things that he wants investigation into, is the risks of stablecoin. He also wants the executive agencies to do an analysis about illegality of using cryptocurrency. He wants, let's see here. He wants the U.S. government to take concrete steps, quote unquote, to support digital assets. The steps must prioritize privacy, security, fighting against illegality, and reducing climate effects. I say privacy, probably not. He put that up front, but I don't agree with that. And then the most important part of the executive order is that it directed the government to ramp up efforts to create central bank digital currency, CBDC. And there's arguments that CBDC could reduce transaction costs and be faster. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But the bottom line is President Biden is of the opinion that he wants CBDC to be used in America as soon as possible. And like I said before, this report is due in 6 months. So it's October of 2022. In 7 months, by November of 2022, he has directed the Department of Treasury to write and issue legislation that can be taken by a legislator and passed or adopted about issuance of CBDC. So he's serious. There are a lot of countries out there that are looking into this digital type of currency. China actually is doing a pilot project. They used it at the Olympics. We can talk about that a little later, but a lot of different Caribbean islands are in the process of analyzing whether or not CBDC is good for them. England, Canada, India are all doing experiments with this CBDC. They see these perceived benefits. We're going to talk about those benefits, but I see a lot more negatives. So let's move on to discussing a little bit more of the speech here.
Digital assets have grown explosively, reaching a market cap of $3 trillion last November from $14 billion just 5 years prior. Digital assets may be relatively new, but they're part of a larger trend, the digitization of finance, that's been in the making for decades.
I'm going to stop it right there. Her statements are saying, cryptocurrency, digital assets, digital currency have been in the making for a long time. They're getting increasingly more popular. Many, many trillions of dollars spent on these types of assets. And this, I think, is setting the stage for Secretary Yellen to say, listen, I think the time is now to adopt more cryptocurrency regulation and perhaps adopt central bank digital currency.
Most recently, new technology has raised the possibility of reduced reliance on centralized intermediaries like banks and credit card companies.
All right, so what she's talking about is the fact that there is this argument out there that cryptocurrency and use of that cuts out the middleman. Now, in practice, I'm sure a lot of you guys out there who use cryptocurrency see that maybe that's not necessarily true. There is an NFT marketplace that you have to buy from, and there's fees there. Oftentimes when you're doing transactions with cryptocurrency, NFTs, whatever, you're paying gas fees and network fees. So there's this kind of decentralization argument out there for use of NFTs and cryptocurrency. I don't know if it's exactly true, but I think what Secretary Yellen is doing at this point is she's kind of setting up the stage. She's kind of saying, hey, it's great. I understand what you're saying. Decentralization has no middleman, and that's really, really great. And I think that is, again, setting the stage for discussion about cryptocurrency. Now we're going to move into another section that I think is really awesome here.
Over time, the prices of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have been quite volatile, and that's inhibited their widespread use in payments. All
right, so what we're looking at now is she's making the case about why private cryptocurrency, in other words, the status of cryptocurrency, is not good. And this is the case for why maybe we should switch over, she'll say a little bit later, stablecoin or CBDC. The first reason she's saying is cryptocurrency has been notoriously volatile. And as a result, it's not been mass adopted because of the volatility of this cryptocurrency. You probably would not deny that. Now, I just want to refer to a comment right here. Why it's Vincent Cross says, why is she dressed like Lisa Simpson from the episode where she was president? I can't, it's covered off there. That's very funny. All right, so let's watch more.
Of cryptocurrencies for payments may be further inhibited by high fees and slower processing times than those associated with other forms of payment.
All right, so Secretary Yellen is saying this. She's saying that, gosh, cryptocurrency has higher fees than regular transactions and slower processing times. Now, this may or may not be true. Well, I take that back. This is not necessarily true. She's probably referring to Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum transactions, but as well as I do, Cardano and Solana transactions are much faster. Matter of fact, they're much faster than even CBDC is. So this is kind of her arguments. They're like, you know what? There's higher fees and it's slower. And those are problems. And that's the reason why we haven't had a mass adoption of cryptocurrency. But these reasons I don't think are actually true.
As a practical matter, you'd have a hard time using cryptocurrency to buy a sandwich or a gallon of milk.
For now, I see what she's saying right now because there isn't mass adoption. There was a stat out saying that last year only 4% of Americans actually had bought cryptocurrency. So yes, we're not quite there yet. But I do believe in the future, especially if you go globally, you're going to find a lot of opportunities to use cryptocurrency to buy things at Amazon or buy a service or maybe pay for a lawyer to give you advice, like maybe me on social media and cryptocurrency.
Other digital assets like stable coins or potential central bank digital currencies could succeed at being more widely used as a medium of exchange.
So what she's saying is, while cryptocurrencies have the problem of being volatile and having high fees and having slow processing times, CBDC doesn't have those problems. She also mentioned stable coins. I think that's a little bit of a side throw. She wants to say, oh yeah, listen, I'm neutral. I'm not necessarily supporting a central bank digital currency. But she's kind of intimating that, boy, CBDC and maybe stable coins could solve the problems right now of cryptocurrency. Now, let me know in the comment section below whether or not you believe those are reasons to adopt a sovereign digital currency. And that is, do you believe that cryptocurrency is volatile? I think it is. I think we could agree on that. Do you believe that all cryptocurrency has high fees? And do you believe that all cryptocurrency has slow processing times? Let me know in the comments right now if you believe that. I want to be able to kind of debate with you a little bit on this stuff because I don't think these reasons are enough to be able to get us to CBDC.
So today, I want to share 5 lessons that apply as we navigate the opportunities and the challenges posed by these emerging technologies.
Now, this is a kind of weird part of the conference. 5 lessons that apply. I don't know where she got this language. It's almost like she's a teacher giving us lessons that she's learned or something. So I don't exactly know it. It's more like maybe guideposts or factors we will consider as the Department of Treasury when we're evaluating potential laws, tax laws for cryptocurrency. So it gets a little weird. Please bear with me right now. She's gonna give these 5 lessons, and they're a little bit hard to understand. Give me a thumbs up when you can, so that you can let me know you're still out there.
These lessons relate to the nature of responsible innovation, the structure of appropriate guardrails, the fundamentals of the financial system, our role in the global economy, and the value of collaboration.
All right, so those are her 5 lessons that she's giving us gratefully on how she's going to review the laws relating to cryptocurrency, NFTs, and those things. All right, government should be involved in responsible innovation. We're going to talk about that first.
Although new technologies have made our financial system more efficient, for most Americans, many transactions still take too long to settle. A combination of technological factors.
All right, so I'm going to pause it right there. She's saying, she's trying to, I'm trying to be neutral here. She's setting up the stage for saying that our current system is not good because there's a settlement problem. It takes too long to settle financial transactions. Now, I'm sure there are examples of this, but I got to tell you, in my life experience, that's never been a real big deal in my life. And maybe I'm rare, but I haven't found myself going, goodness gracious, I wish this credit card transaction would happen faster. I wish the transfer from one bank account to another would happen faster. Maybe it's just because I've accepted that sometimes it takes an hour to do that. But she sets up another reason, or she sets up some examples here to say, you know what? Our current system, the processing times are way too slow.
And business incentives have produced a common frustrating experience that's shared by tens of millions of Americans every week. Their employer sends their paycheck, but it takes up to 2 days for the check to hit their bank account.
Okay, so she's saying that, this is tens of millions of Americans suffer this problem. They work hard and their employer sends their paycheck. Now, it's unclear. She doesn't talk about whether or not it's mail sent or whether or not it's direct deposit. I think she's talking about direct deposit because I think it takes like 2 days or less to do that. But she's saying this is a problem. Right now, our system is so slow that tens of millions of Americans are not getting their money when they need it. Again, a setup. We're talking about central bank digital currency.
That delay contributes to the use of high-cost check cashers.
So because I don't get my paycheck, it takes 2 days to get my paycheck, I go to these check cashing places and I try to borrow some money. It's predatory. They charge me high interest. And so this is a detriment to society.
Or payday lenders to get their money in time to pay their bills. Some are forced to draw against already low balances and they're charged overdraft fees.
Oh gosh. So the other thing also happens is that some of the people don't know what's in their bank account. So when they understand that on the 15th they're going to get paid, they think that money will automatically be there. They don't check their bank account before they spend, and then they get these over withdrawal fees. So these are the problems she's saying that tens of millions of Americans have right now. The financial processing transaction times are too slow. If you get your paycheck, it takes sometimes 2 days to get. And so as a result, you borrow money at high interest rates, or you get in a situation where you don't know what you're going to do. You're going to over withdraw your money.
The system is even more expensive and frustrating when you zoom out and look internationally.
So now she's moving into another reason why central bank digital currency should be adopted in the US, and that is globally, people are having a hard time using the US dollar. Watch.
If you live in a G7 country, you may pay below 2% in transaction and conversion fees to send money across the border. If you live in the developing world, you may pay as high as 10%.
Okay. So what she's saying is if you live in the developing world, you may pay 10% in network and conversion fees for, when you're converting your money into US money. Now, she says up to, we don't know what those numbers are. I'm sure there's lower than 10%, and I'm sure she says up to, so maybe that's the limit. But she's saying because of the slow processing times and because of the fact that there are big fees, up to 10% for people in developing nations to convert their money to ours, that may be a reason for having a digital currency.
And these costs disproportionately impact the 250 million plus migrants around the world who send an average of $200 to $300 in remittances to their families each.
So then now she's calling an actual specific example of migrant laborers who are sending money back to their home countries, $200, $300, $400. It gets really kind of specific. And she's saying they're being penalized for that, and they're going to have to pay up to 10% in fees to do that. So if they're sending $200, they're going to have to spend $20 to get that $200 there.
Each month. So proponents of digital assets envision a more efficient payment system with instantaneous transactions and lower costs no matter where you live.
I wonder what that type of system is. I wonder if we've talked about it yet. There's proponents out there of digital currency that think that there may be a way to have immediate delivery of funds. What could that be? I don't know. Let's watch.
And in 2023, the Federal Reserve currently plans to launch FedNow, which is an instant payment service that will enable payment in real time, around the clock, every day of the year within the U.S. payment system.
So what Secretary Yellen is saying is actually right now, or actually in 2023, the Federal Reserve is going to have a system called FedNow, which will provide for instantaneous transfers of value. It is unclear exactly what that's going to be, if that's only going to be wholesale, if it's only going to be to banks. We don't know, but it's kind of another reason she's saying, listen, we have these problems with our current system, higher fees, slower processing times. You may agree or you may not agree, but now we have an example that's going to be in effect in next year where we already have fast transfer of assets via the government.
Lesson 2. When regulation fails to keep pace with innovation, vulnerable people often suffer the greatest harm.
So we must regulate cryptocurrency. That is the message right there. That's what she's saying. The United States needs to get involved in making more laws to regulate not only cryptocurrency, but also the surrounding industries that deal in cryptocurrency.
Already, the Treasury has worked with the President's Working Group on Financial Markets, the FDIC, and the OCC, that's the controller of the currency, to study stablecoins, which are a type of cryptocurrency that's pegged to a stable source of value, often the US dollar.
So she's saying already right now, US government agencies are working with stablecoin companies or DAOs to help them in their process of issuing stablecoins. So it's kind of another reason. She's saying, listen, the government's already involved. So it's going to be kind of an easy transition if we move into our own digital currency. I just want to say hi to Juan Elias. Thank you so much for joining us, Juan. Vincent Cross says, good thing I stopped all crypto activity in 2021. I'm holding on to 10,000 XRP. I know I have XRP too, but I can't get it out of Coinbase right now. Tell me, Vincent, how I can get it out of Coinbase. It's sitting on the exchange, and I want to get it out and potentially just sell it. Let's see who we else got here. Oh, we got Review Report. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you so much for joining us, Review Report. Let's see here. Okay, we also got the Sim Architect. Creditors can't garnish your money otherwise at Vincent Cross. Okay, so we're talking back and forth. Yeah, we're going to get to some of the negatives of central bank digital currency in a minute. But let's just watch what she has to say about stablecoin.
Stablecoins raise policy concerns, including those related to illicit finance, user protection, and systemic risk. And they're currently subject to inconsistent and fragmented oversight. To peg their stablecoin to $1, most issuers say that they back their coins with traditional assets that are safe and liquid. And this way, whenever you want to trade your stablecoin back into $1, the company says it has the money to make the exchange. But right now, no one can assure you that will happen.
So what she's saying there is right now, stablecoin companies are not regulated. And so there's no way to assure that there's a one-for-one exchange of stablecoin. So she's saying, I don't believe in the market's control, because one of the problems that people believe in is that they say, listen, if you don't have regulation of stablecoin, then there could be a bank run, or there could be in this case, a stablecoin run, and the stablecoin company could go out of business, and then all the people could lose their money from that run. And so there's other people who say, listen, if that ever happened, if that ever came close to happening, then the market forces would control it. If there's distrust for a stablecoin company out there, people aren't going to use it. So there's kind of a battle between whether or not there should be government regulation of stablecoin companies, or just let the market, understand it itself.
Stablecoins are just one piece of a much larger ecosystem of digital assets. And our regulatory frameworks should be designed to support responsible innovation while managing risks. So
what does a regulatory framework mean? It means pass laws. It means adopt and issue regulations by the executive branch.
Especially those that could disrupt the financial system and the economy. As banks and other traditional financial firms become more involved in digital asset markets, regulatory frameworks will need to appropriately reflect the risks of these new activities.
So what she's saying is more and more regulations should be introduced and should be passed and issued for banks that are getting involved in these cryptocurrency transactions.
And new types of intermediaries, such as digital asset exchanges and other digital native.
And other types of businesses like digital asset exchanges. What does that mean? NFT marketplaces and other exchanges for cryptocurrency. So it looks like what Janet Yellen wants, and certainly President Biden wants, is more regulations, more laws affecting cryptocurrency and NFTs.
Intermediaries. These should be subject to appropriate forms of oversight. Firms that hold customer assets, they should be required to ensure those assets aren't lost, stolen, or used without.
All right. So she's saying, I want the government to be involved in forcing these exchanges to have a customer service. You know, one of the problems, of course, with cryptocurrency, I've suffered it, I'm sure you have too, is that if you make a mistake on an address, if you buy or you attempt to buy an NFT from someone that's fraudulent, sorry, you're out of luck. That I think makes me more cautious when I'm doing cryptocurrency and NFT transactions. I know that there's absolutely no one to rely on if there's a problem. If I need to transfer large amounts of cryptocurrency, I'm not doing it in one fell swoop. I mean, my goodness, if I had a lot of money, let's say, and I send it to the wrong address, or I send it to an address that doesn't take that type of cryptocurrency, I could have a real problem. So really, the burden falls on me to know what I'm doing when I'm doing cryptocurrency transactions. What Secretary Yellen is kind of saying is, listen, we need to have a regulatory framework so that the people that hold cryptocurrency for us, whether it be banks or digital wallet services, the NFT marketplaces, they need to make sure that the transactions go through, that they don't lose the assets. And then, you know, I can read between the lines. She's basically saying also, you know, there should be some recourse if there's a problem, if there's a fraud, and regulatory framework should be adopted to make sure that happens.
Without the customer's permission. And
all right, so here we go.
Should receive.
I love, this is my favorite part of the speech, or one of my favorite parts, because Secretary Yellen is putting it on us as the people who have the responsibility to pay taxes on our cryptocurrency. Listen to this.
Receive the same type of tax reporting on digital asset transactions that they receive on transactions in stocks and bonds. That way they'll have the information they need to report their income to the IRS.
Oh, isn't that great? We need to have laws to ensure that the exchanges, that the gateways send us our documents relating to our transactions so that we can pay our taxes. My goodness, thank you so much for adopting those laws. I love that. It's a great way to kind of put it on the cryptocurrency and NFT businesses to say, listen, they need to be forced to give us our tax documents. Now, listen, I'm just like you. I pay my taxes, no problem. But it's just a very funny way of saying, listen, we want to make sure that everyone pays their capital gains taxes on cryptocurrency and NFTs, because we're going to force the companies that are involved in this business to make sure that they send us our tax forms. So I love that.
And that ties into my next lesson.
And this is one of the final lessons, but just listen to her words here.
Which is that sovereign money is the core of a well-functioning financial system.
Sovereign money is the core of a well-functioning financial system. What does she mean? She says what she means is that we need to have a number one, a top level of currency in America. And she's saying that she believes that money issued from America, from the government, should remain number one to have a well-functioning financial system. She is in disagreement with the thought that multiple currencies can coexist. Bitcoin and the US dollar and Tether and Ethereum and Solana, all those can exist in the system. She's saying we need a top dog currency And in this case, I think she's leading to digital currency.
And the United States benefits from the central role the dollar and U.S. financial institutions play in global finance.
Okay. So that's what she's saying. She wants a sovereign digital currency to be adopted by America. That's what I think she's saying.
So the president's executive order asks us to consider whether and how the issuance of a public CBDC would support this role. I can't tell you yet the conclusions we will reach.
I can't tell you the conclusions. I know what they are, and that is we're going to do a in-depth analysis. We're going to write a bunch of pages. We're going to come up with new laws that regulate banks doing cryptocurrency transactions, gateways, digital assets exchanges. We're going to make sure that there are more taxes that are applied to digital assets. We're going to make sure that our citizens have the forms they need to report their capital gains to the IRS. And I also believe that sovereign money, sovereign currency should be number one. That's the key to having a well-functioning financial system. So those are just what I believe her conclusions will be. She kind of laid them all out, but at the end, it's kind of funny. She's like, you know what? I can't tell you exactly what we're going to say, but I got to tell you from everything she said, what they're going to be doing in November is writing laws that will adopt a central bank digital currency. And I got to tell you, what's really interesting about what she says in this whole talk is she talks about why, right? And it's all consumer based. It's like, listen, transaction times are slow. Sometimes it takes 2 days to get their paycheck. And as a result, they got to borrow at high interest. And that's just a problem. There's a lot of people in developing countries that don't want to pay high fees to convert their money convert US money into their home country's money. Those are the only two reasons why we need to entirely change our financial system for CBDC, but she does not talk about the things that are probably most important to you and I. And that is, if you understand how CBDC works, the government has complete and utter control over our money supply. Never has this happened in our history. We certainly had times when banknotes were issued in America, but people could always fall back on gold. You could always get a gold bar and dig, a hole and put that gold bar there. If anything happened, there's a war, if there's some problem, you had some type of way of exchanging some sort of monetary power in this world. When it comes to central bank digital currency, you don't, because everything is controlled by the government. So that means that it's possible that the US government can cancel your money. So let's just do a hypothetical scenario. Let's say you have $5,000 in the bank and that's your savings, okay? And let's say there's a mistake. You're charged with a crime or there's some problem. And so the government says, listen, we are going to freeze your assets. It's not a simple matter it's not a court judicial matter of seizing your assets. No, they literally can press a button and your money is no good. There's also the ability for governments to be able to determine what you spend it on. There's an example that I brought up in my last live about China, where there was two citizens there who had behavior violations. I don't know what they were, but as a result, they could not use their China digital currency to go on a train or go on an airplane. The government actually controlled their uses of it. There's also the argument that CBDC can have an expiration date. In other words, this money I'm going to issue, a good example would be with those stimulus checks. Here we're going to give you $2,500 to spend in CBDC, but you got to spend it by September of 2023 or it's no good. So there's a lot of control that comes with CBDC. The other thing also to understand is that it's completely trackable. The president in the executive order and also the discussion with Janet Yellen was saying that privacy was a number one concern. But I got to tell you, that's not the case. With CBDC, the government will know everything you do, everything you spend on. And they will not allow this currency to be spent on things that they don't approve of. Now, a lot of you and I don't have a problem. I mean, I'm sure it's pretty liberal about what things can be spent on. But at some point in time, there could be something that you would like to use your monetary resources for that you can't do because the government won't allow you to spend on that. And I got to tell you, that is a right that's not in the Constitution. Freedom of financial ability, freedom of financial power is not there. So there's no constitutional hurdle to them adopting this and really controlling the population. So what's interesting is you could say, Ian, I don't think that's going to happen. Those are lame reasons or whatever. But why in the world did she not address those reasons in this speech? I think it would have been such a great thing if she said, you know what, we were thinking about, passing a law that requires privacy. The government cannot see how you spend your money. We're thinking about passing a law that says, we'll never be able to control how you spend this money. Something to address this concern other than the two reasons, which is, dude, you might have to get a payday loan because you don't get your paycheck within 2 days. That was one thing that I thought was absolutely fascinating about Janet Yellen's speech.
But we must be clear that issuing a CBDC would likely present a major design and engineering challenge that would require years of development, not months. And for that reason, I share the president's urgency in pulling forward research to understand the challenges and opportunities a CBDC could present to American interests.
All right. So she shares the urgency to get this stuff done. I love how she said at the very end of her talk that she believes that the president is right when he says, I want you to hurry up so that we can harness the power of digital assets. In my opinion, harness means tax. And like I said before, I don't want to repeat it too much, but the secretary is charged with stewarding this report, which is a full examination of cryptocurrency. I got to believe that half of it is already written. Honestly, I think it's already. I used to work for a governor of California. I know how these things go. You don't just show up at a press conference and not be totally prepared, especially when it comes to the U.S. government. So I'm sure a lot of the report is already done. A lot of the conclusions are already there. The conclusions, I think, were announced in this press conference today. And I think that, when this report is issued, and it's going to be in October, they only have a month to draft legislation that would be given to a senator or a congressman to bring to the floor to have a vote on issuance of central bank digital currency. So we're talking 7 months. This could be a reality. And let's just say, Ian, no. It takes a long time for laws to pass, and there's debate and there's all sorts of things. Who cares? Let's say it's double 7 months. It's 14 months. That is pretty fast for a country completely changing their system. No coins, no paper money, no checks. Everything is digital. And the government has complete and unbridled control over how you spend your money. That is remarkable to me, having spent a lot of time studying the Constitution and being a litigator for 20 years and dealing with constitutional issues in the media. That has never happened. And so those are the fears there. What in the heck can we do about it? I mean, I want to be optimistic, but there's not a whole lot other than contacting your local legislator and saying, this is not something I want. Now, of course, the legislation has not been drafted yet. So we really can't do anything about it right now. But I got to tell you, the reason why I'm making these videos is because I want to get you prepared. In 6 months, this is going to be a big issue. And I want you to be involved because, we risk waking up in 2023 and the government has said, listen, all the money you have in the bank is now central bank digital currency. Okay. We've converted it. All right. So you wake up and you're like, okay, cool. Well, I mean, I still have $5,000 in the bank. That's great. And then you realize that, oh no, that $5,000 can only be spent this way. Oh no, yes, because you have taxes due, we're taking $2,000 of that $5,000. Yeah, and it's instantaneous. Like we said, there's lots of delays in our current system, but with CBDC, there aren't delays. So because you owe back taxes of $2,000, you only have $3,000 as of now. I mean, wouldn't that suck to wake up to this reality? So at least, even if it's inevitable, it is coming. At least if there's a way for we can get together and let our voices be heard about this thing. Because I got to tell you, this is, one thing that I think that our founders never thought about when they were creating our country. They thought about freedom of speech, which is so important. They thought of the right to bear arms. They thought of due process, but they didn't think about, the fact that there could be a digital currency that could be controlled by government computers. So as a result, we don't have any fundamental constitutional rights to freedom of expenditures. And we're going to have to figure out if that fits within due process, Fifth Amendment or 14th Amendment, to be able to attack some of these laws that are coming up. So anyway, I was recently with my family and I was going off about central bank digital currency, and I was just so frustrated because I think it's not been a big issue out there, and I think it's just so huge. And I wanted to make this video about it. Just want to get to some comments here. Just want to say hi to some people. Oh yeah, Sim Architect says Brazil has instant bank transfers that are completely free and take seconds. It's also free to have a bank account by law. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great way to have access to the masses to a bank account. Great. But does Brazil have the ability to eliminate those resources immediately? Probably they do. Dara is here. The government spent billions of dollars of our money on a healthcare website. A website. Does anyone trust the government with this technology? No, I do not, Dara. I think that we are going the wrong direction, and I think the government is going to gain more control over us by controlling our money supply. So and the thing, I don't want to harp on this point, but I'm so terrified about it because I don't know how I'm going to get out of it. Like in the old days, I would say, okay, I'm going to take my $5,000 and buy a gold brick or something and then hide it, And so even if I lost my house and my car or whatever, I would have some means of recourse. I have this $5,000 brick that I could trade, that I could, sell for, whatever, and have some money for food. But I got to tell you, besides my cryptocurrency, all my assets are in US dollars. So if they make this rule in 2023 or sooner, that it has now been converted to central bank digital currency, I have no control and I don't know what to do. I mean, my goodness, they could just take it all. So scary to me. Yoked Tesla, I'm so glad to see you. We have direct deposits from whom payment process take 3 to 7 days, and it takes 2 weeks to update cards. If for some reason we need to get a replacement company card, it's hell. It's hell, and our employees hate it. Well, listen, Yoked, I totally agree, and that's why we have cryptocurrency. This is the thing you got to understand is that yes, there may be some problems with our transactions. I guess Visa transactions, they can do 1,700 per second. Central bank digital currency, they're saying upwards of 300,000 per second. So it's going to be faster, no question. But what if we just did this? What if we were allowed to have our current currency, our current fiat currency, coexist with cryptocurrency? And more businesses adopted cryptocurrency. I did a live yesterday for Nas Academy, and I loved that one of their main ways of accepting payment for the lives we do and the courses they have is through cryptocurrency, and most people use it. That's what they're using now. So I'm not saying that you're going to buy a sandwich tomorrow with Bitcoin. That is probably a hurdle. But over time, there will be adoption. And so I just think that one of the things we need to be aware of is that there is some real value to having private currencies out there, currencies governed by the market, not by government. Why can't we coexist? Wouldn't it be nice to know, oh my gosh, if if we're going to move to a central bank digital currency, I have at least cryptocurrency to help me out in case the government wrongly wants to invalidate all my money in the bank account. So what we have now is this rush, and I mean rush. The president says urgency to create central bank digital currency. And then we also have this rush to adopt regulations on the private cryptocurrency. So, I mean, they're knocking us down here and they're knocking us down there, and it's scary. Stephen Hahn is here, not opposed, but rather backed up by government. So it's more trustworthy. So more people would adopt, and it's something they could still have control over. Yeah, I don't know about that, Stephen. I really don't. I mean, I'm hoping you're right. Whenever I make these videos, I want you to be right. People that believe that, hey, the government's going to do the right thing. All right, this is just converting our paper dollars into digital currency. Aren't we doing that right now? I mean, a lot of you, including myself, don't use cash that often. We're just using a credit card or a debit card or whatever. So I get the argument. It's like, dude, why are you getting so upset? The government probably will take our interests in mind and not allow and not disallow us from spending on the way we want to. I hope you're right. But I could also see situations where there's a accusation of a crime that's wrong. You know, my gosh, I've been accused of a crime, and so as a result, my assets are, boop, they push a button, they're gone. How do I pay for an attorney? How do I defend myself? Yeah, the government gives me an attorney to defend myself, but no, I want freedom of choice there too. So I could see there being situations where whole networks of people, including family members, have their money seized or invalidated by the government if we went to a central digital currency. So I hope you're right, but it could be really bad. Let's see. Who do we got here? Yeah. Oh yeah, it just says solo. I never know how to pronounce this. Nepean, is that what it is? Just the name only Fed now shows so much control. I know. When I heard that too, I was thinking about who was the marketing person for the Federal Reserve, where they came up with Fed now. In other words, get resources now. We're going to be in your life now. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Let's see here. Coconut Pete is here. The government is $1 trillion in debt, or $30 trillion in debt. Yes. So they probably want to take a cut of all crypto and remove all privacy from transactions that cash allows. I totally agree. I was doing a live yesterday about the metaverse, and we were going over the fact that big companies have spent over $1 trillion the past few years on the metaverse. And I just did a kind of a fun experiment. $1 trillion in $100 bills is 631 miles high. So it's higher than even the space station is. So can you imagine what 30 of those 631 miles of $100 bills is? A lot of debt. They want to be able to take a cut of their crypto. Absolutely. They'll certainly say that, listen, we're trying to protect people. And I know that there are some problems with the cryptocurrency situation right now. No customer service. I get it. But I'm really scared about CBDC. Coconut says a disaster for homeless people or anyone that depends on cash to help pay bills, such as selling stuff locally or doing odd jobs. Yeah, what I think, and what a lot of the articles, the commentators have said is, if central bank digital currency goes into effect, a lot of us are going to move into a bartering economy. You know, we're going to say, listen, I'll make a video for you to advertise your product in exchange for you doing my laundry or something like that, because we'll not be either will our digital currency is eliminated, or I have a phone call there, or maybe we've been wrongfully accused of a crime, and so we don't have access to our resources. So it's the barter economy probably happens. Sim says they can exist, but only USD should be official and redeemable for gold. Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, true. I know. I thought that was true too, of the background for the video. All right, Vincent says not only will money be on the blockchain, but all retail goods will be also. You can legally buy a firearm from a retailer. They will know what you purchased. Yes, and they will sell it like, oh my gosh, it's so much easier. You automatically apply for a gun permit by buying a gun with CBDC. So they'll try to come up with reasons why, oh my gosh, this is so much more convenient. But again, like I told you before, right now it's up to us to pay our taxes, basically. If you're a W-2 earner, of course, your employer takes something out of your paycheck. But for the most part, it's up to us to pay our taxes. Well, in the future, it may not be. The government says, maybe they make a mistake and they say you owe $10,000 worth of taxes and you only got $10,000 in your bank account. They just go, boom, that's transferred to them automatically. You can't negotiate a payment plan first or go through a process saying, listen, I don't owe that $10,000. It is taken and it's up to you to prove your innocence. So yeah, it's kind of scary. Yeah, look at Vincent's talking about, I will brace Mad Max world and be shiny and chrome. I like Vincent. Thank you for joining us today. Oh, geez. I'm going through the comments. Oh, we got World War Wit. The Constitution contrasts currency against tangible materials, gold, silver, not intangibles, debts, and crypto. The Constitution contrasts currency against tangible materials. Okay. Cool. Yeah, it doesn't directly protect our freedom of spending our money, I don't believe. I like Annie. What is the point of crypto? Cash is good enough. Well, you know what, Annie, that's absolutely a valid comment. I really believe that. You do not have to be involved in crypto. It's just that a lot of us like the ability of the potential for cryptocurrency, and that is instantaneous transfer. So gosh, God forbid someone is trapped in a country like Ukraine or something like that, and you need to get some resources to them. Literally within seconds to a minute, you can transfer value to them and not have an intermediary. There's people out there who don't have access to banks, but they can get a digital wallet online and they can manage their money through cryptocurrency that way. There's people who love the ability to make money, to be able to borrow against their cryptocurrency, or to stake or to pool their cryptocurrency. So there's a lot of benefits to it that we don't have. When we move into US dollars and fiat currency, there's a lot of intermediaries in the process. You got to be approved for a bank loan. You got to go through a credit check. You don't with cryptocurrency. So there's some definite advantages to cryptocurrency. Besides, putting that all aside, we should just be free to do whatever we want with our value, with our money. And a lot of us are really persuaded that cryptocurrency is here to stay and is really going to be the future, the fundamental, I would say, the fuel source for the metaverse and Web3. That's fine. We believe that. You may not, but let's just be free to have that. Let's not try to raise up sovereign digital currency and then push down private sector cryptocurrency. Let's let them coexist and see where that goes. Coconut Pete loves cash. He is available for any cash, ACH transactions. So send it to him. By the way, Coconut Pete is a great graphic designer. Please use him if you need to design a metaverse. All right. Any cases, I find crypto very risky. If the grid goes down, you have no access to your money. If the grid goes down, there's fees, possible hacking, company can shut down, no recourse. Well, I agree that there's no recourse often when you do a cryptocurrency transaction. The hacking thing is just media created. Almost every single hack I've ever seen with respect to an NFT or cryptocurrency is a mistake that the owner made. They fell for a fraudulent scheme where they said, please send us your seed phrase for your MetaMask wallet. And they did. So for the most part, it's not that the hackers are coming into your system and stealing your money. They're just doing what just like stealing your locker combination. Please give us your locker combination. We want to make sure that the lock works. Okay, here it is. And then they steal what's in your locker. I mean, it's the same thing. So I don't really see that one as being an issue. I do see the problem with fees. Right now, we have some problems, especially if you're trading in Ethereum. You got gas fees that are high. Those are problems that are going to go away in the future, because especially with Ethereum going to 2.0, we're going to have much less fees. We're also going to have much less impact on the environment as we move to the proof of stake concept for most cryptocurrencies. So you find crypto totally risky. I disagree, but that's great. We have freedom to disagree on that. Yeah, cancel culture will be used against anyone not in lockstep with approved ideology. I didn't pronounce it right. Solo says, just picture a YouTuber gets called in by a prank and SWAT shows up. Wrong guy gets his funds. I know, I totally agree with that. And did you guys know, I did it in my live yesterday, that you're going to be able to make your YouTube videos into NFTs and be able to sell art and music on YouTube. What we're doing, we're moving to, and I'll make some videos about it, we're moving to hybrid social media where OpenSea is going to have a feed along with selling their NFTs. Instagram is going to have the ability to, as you're going through the reels and people are pointing and doing dances that are meaningless and lame. Sorry, but you're gonna be able to buy that video. You're gonna be able to buy that meaningless video of someone pointing to text on the screen. So, yeah, Sim Architect, we'll need to barter or use things like silver, gold. I guess. I mean, precious metals. I guess. I think barter is probably more what it's going to be like. We got Von Hanna. Can the government access? I think she means your crypto. Kind of. They can, crypto transactions are mostly transparent, at least with respect to the accounts that hold the crypto. And they can do they use this Pegasus 2 program that allows them to trace expenditures of crypto. So they kind of can, which may be beneficial for people that are committing crimes. But it's harder than what it will be with CBDC, which will be that, oh yeah, we think that you're a drug dealer, so we're invalidating your $1 million account. Boom. Until you prove to us that you're not selling drugs. That would be scary. Can the government access your crypto in the future with a Ledger wallet? Well, Ledger, of course, is one of the most safe cold storage wallets around there. I have one myself. So the chances of them accessing it is pretty minimal unless they force you to give them your seed phrase. Robert Miller is here. Some experts are saying that there will be a run on cash. Do you think it's a good idea to stockpile cash while all the madness is figured out? I don't think so. I don't even know. I think cryptocurrency is where it's at. I mean, certainly it's good to have savings in USD or your fiat currency, but I think that figuring out things that are going to give you assets that are going to give you value in Web3 and the metaverse is really important. That's why I've invested in virtual land. I know it sounds crazy. Some people think I'm crazy for it, but I think the future, we're not going to use websites, those 2D things that are on our screen. We're going to be using virtual land. I'm going to invite Sim Architect, Robert Miller, Vaughn Hanna, Esmeralda. I'm going to invite you guys all to visit my land in the Sandbox or Decentraland. So I don't think stockpile cash is there. Frankly, it doesn't make sense to me because you're not earning any interest on it anyway. So anyway, I just want to say hi to Esmeralda. Thank you so much for joining us, Esmeralda. I really, really appreciate it. It means so much to me that you guys have taken some time to show up on a Thursday, potentially late, and Sim, 2 a.m. Thank you so much, Sim. I owe you one to check this thing out. Just be aware, I have some videos that came out this week. I'm talking about Jack Dorsey and Twitter, came out on Tuesday, I believe. And I have a video coming out on Saturday, which is all about what is the freaking point of the metaverse? I have so many comments saying, dude, why do you talk about the metaverse? What's the point? So I made a video specifically addressing the point. I'd love for you guys to join me on that video and leave some comments. As usual, there's always down below a link to my email list. I'd love, if you're not already a member of the email list, join me. What I do every week is I send one email and it gives you 5 opportunities in Web3. Job opportunities, opportunities to invest, maybe an NFT that's special that I think is going to gain value. I do it in literally 2 sentences per opportunity because don't want to waste your time. And I send that every week, every Wednesday for you to look at and hopefully get some value out of. And then, of course, we're going to continue this discussion on central bank digital currency in the Discord server. There's a link in the description section to my Discord server. What I do there is a couple things. One is there's a legal questions channel. So if you have legal questions about Web3, moving from Web2 to Web3, let me know right there. I'll respond. Also, I have various channels that are all the opportunities that I find. My team and I come up, kind of cull the opportunities in virtual land, utility tokens, digital art NFTs, music NFTs, and you click on one of the channels and it's just going to list these opportunities that are available out there right now. So it's all free. I want to do it because I want to help you transition to Web3 because I think that we're at this wave right now. We're seeing the wave of Web3 coming. It's early. I want to position you on that wave so that you can catch it and you can kill it in the opportunity. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you guys.